My name is Lee Ballantyne and I'm Head of Education Futures at UWS, and this is my second summer video diary. In the first video diary, I talked a bit about how we're planning for next session and our approach to learning and teaching and our new hybrid model. So this time I'd like to talk a bit more about what we're doing in practical terms to support staff. So first of all, we recognise that staff have varying needs in terms of support. So people are starting from different places and they have different amounts of time that they can commit. So flexibility is really, really important. But we also want to ensure that what we do has impact across the university. So at the moment, we have two key strands of work that are a priority for us. The first is implementation of our UWS baseline. Now, this sets out our minimum expectations for online aspects of learning and teaching. So we've aligned the implementation of baseline to the launch of our new VLE, as well as the deadline for the new accessibility legislation, which we're all grappling with just now. So the initiative was around long before lockdown happened, but we do see it as an important part of preparing for next session. You know, when you think about the variety of contexts our students are going to be accessing their materials in and the increase in online delivery, I would say having a usable and accessible course is going to be critical for next session. To support staff with implementing baseline, we created a checklist, first of all, recognising that some people might do all of this already and understand it all already. So, you know, they could just look at the checklist and think, right, that's okay, that's fine. Some people might do some of it and just, you know, want to look at maybe the accessibility section, for example. We had a lot of wraparound support to help with the checklist, to understand the different elements that make up a usable course, so things like navigation and communication and accessibility. So we set up a microsite, a one-stop shop with all the information required and lots of signposting to further support. So you could just, if you had one query, you could just go and look it up. If you wanted to know more, then we also ran workshops. And then we also have drop-in sessions every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, all afternoon. So any queries, you can just come into a WebEx session and have a chat with one of us. The second substantial piece of work is a CPD program, which we've run twice over the summer to provide staff with very tailored practical support with the transition to a hybrid model ahead of next session. So it includes 3 micro modules that cover designing, delivering and assessing online learning and teaching. So first module, designing for online learning and teaching, is looking at learners, at how people learn, and some of the key concepts like universal learning design, types of learning in the ABC toolkit, and Salmon's 5-stage model and e-activities, so things like that. The next module is delivering online learning and teaching. So this is looking at how to engage and motivate students online, how to build community and develop a sense of belonging and active learning strategies. And then we move on to assessing online learning and teaching, which is looking at assessment and feedback in the online environment, including self and peer assessment and how this can be delivered in the VLE. So the idea is that these take the lecturer through the process in a very hands-on and practical way. They bring their modules and work their way through them and have something tangible at the end. On top of these big pieces of work, we've got our day job, if you like, of providing ad hoc support. So we run an email help desk. So if anyone's got any questions, they can drop us an email. And then, of course, the drop-ins that I mentioned to support baseline are there for anyone and for any questions. So you can just drop into a WebEx session. You don't need to book it or anything. We run webinar Wednesdays on various topics. And of course, we curate and signpost a range of online support because there's a huge amount already out there. So I should probably point out that there are only 4 people in Education Futures. I mentioned in the last video that we are recruiting an additional 5 posts, which is fantastic. But through all of this, it's a very small team that's done all of this. So absolute hats off to everyone involved. Everyone's worked really, really hard in quite challenging circumstances. And to everyone in these types of roles across the sector, everyone is working so hard just now, and I think it's really important to recognise that and to be kind to each other.